Okay, we're back. Guys, I did some deep diving for you because I know you weren't going to do it, so get into it. We got a reading problem, and it's big. It's me, Carlton Leroy Lee, and this is Black Boy's Guide. All right, so, okay, as we saw in the last video, my focus is basically going to be on people that look like me, because I'm trying to handle one thing at a time. I can't solve the world's problems. There's other people for that. Go follow Other People Guide. But over here, look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm trying to solve our problem. So I did a little research. So this has actually been an ongoing issue for a very long time. So I read the articles. I don't remember the names of them, but I will post them down below. Here's one, here's two, and here's three. And we're just gonna like go into the deep dive of what they found. And we're gonna keep a simple formula every time we do these videos, right? We're gonna talk about what we learned, you know, what this implies, and how we can resolve these things. What's the how we can resolve these things? I'm just gonna be spitfiring out answers because I honestly don't know. But I think you need to be aware of them. I think you need to read these studies, and I believe that we should all be taking an interest on making the problem better. Stop fidgeting, bro. Like, bro, fix that. Do I look swole? Beside the point. Let's focus. In the first reading, it basically breaks down. What does it break down? I always like forget. What was the first one? I hate just not memorizing this. Memory. Did it have something to do with memory? Oh, it did have to do with memory. I lied. It did. So the first video had to do with a few things, basically kind of running into the problems that we saw in the videos that we watched before, right? So there's going to be multiple ways that someone can practice their reading, get better at their reading, and here's basically what's going on. So it was basically going into like phonological, right? Learning, syntactic, is that syntactic? It is syntactic. And then basically working memory. These are going to be the three aspects that are really going to influence whether you are a good or poor reader. So you definitely should be focusing on one of these things, and if you have a concern with one of these things, you should be able to basically understand what's going on. Phonological, like can you basically sound it out? I don't know how to say it like that. So if I put apple, you know, A-P-P-L-E is not apple, it's just basically apple, just because of the rules and regulations that we have. Can you have me an apple? I want to eat an apple. Makes no sense at all, right? So then there's going to be syntactic, which is basically, now that you know what apple means, apple, by the way, I should probably stop saying that. But now that we understand, that's going to bother me. Now that we know how to say apple, what does it mean? Huh? What does it mean? Actually, it's not really apple. That's just reading a word, so that's not really, and what you can do by recognition, that's a whole other situation, but it's not really going to make sure that you understand how to, what am I getting ready to say? Knowing a word does not necessarily mean you know how to read, which this kind of breaks that down. So now you recognize apple, and then you just phrase a sentence. I like to eat apples. This is where syntactic comes into play, right? Now you have to be able to basically break it apart and understand I like to eat apples. And now that's a whole separate thing that you have to learn how to do. So basically, it's just like I have to be able to put them all together and make sense of what I'm trying to say, because it's now we're getting into the language, and the language is going to be more broken apart than it is going to be about reading the word. All that together is now reading. So just when you say a word, there's so many things that are going on. You could be doing that just by memory. You could just be doing that because you're sounding it out, and that's going to be the phonological. But now the syntactic is, what does that all mean? And then the memory is basically understanding, okay, what how do I use that last time? How to, basically the rules. You have to remember the rules of how to do that, and also understand what the rules are doing, and then that's how you're going to get into reading. And I was like, oh my gosh, that makes sense, because I'm thinking that when I can read a word, I'm reading, and no, it's not reading. You actually have to do the whole phrase or sentence, and one of those things has to be there all together. And so therefore, once you understand how to do those things, that's when you're really getting into reading. I thought this was going to be a quicker. That was my favorite one to read, to be completely honest, because it really did break down all of that. Now, the second article that I read is kind of a study on the language, and basically it found implications. It was actually looking to see exactly how people learn how to read with, and does their family background have an effect. I'm about to burp. Dear God, that was so delicious. Anyway, so that is going to basically, it was looking for, if there's going to be indicators that if your background is going to influence your ability to read. And it actually did not find that per se. If anything, it did show that your family background has more of an influence on the habits that you will take when you read. So it found things like, Black and Hispanic families, for the most part, took more of an interest in the understanding words, like understanding what they meant, which I can understand. I think that there's an implication there that, from before, when you just needed to go into the workforce, you basically need to be able to survive. So therefore, understanding what the word is going to be more important than the language. And this is why, this actually gets me to like an amazing point that I tried to make a long time ago with a friend. If I'm applying for a job and you're applying for the job, and we're both from poor families, I'm Black, you're white, both of us grew up poor, and so therefore I cannot stand arguing. It's like, my family's poor too. Big whoop, Tyler. That's actually his name. I love him to death. But no one cares, because if we can both go in there and your family's taught you to speak the Queen's English, and mine is from Murfreesboro, Illinois, like it is, and I say things with a southern drawl or a twang, shout out to David. If you know, you know. I'm seen as less than smart, so therefore, apparently whites, now I say whites, that is so, my bad, white people. But white people put more emphasis on the actual language. So did Black too, but Black and Hispanic really put emphasis on the actual words, the letters, and sounding it out, and being able to basically get that together, but not being able to basically get what they're trying to say out. So that was great. The third article, I did not think that was that important. Honestly, you don't even have to read it, because I think it's just going to be a topic for another day. I know I'm tired, so I can only imagine people that have been doing this much longer than me. So what does this all mean when it comes to reading and learning, and what's going to happen? I think there's going to be multiple implications. What am I saying? What am I doing? Oh yeah. I gotta focus. Like, this is not okay. Figure out exactly how it is that you're best at learning. But I think the second article really also helps us understand where we're lacking. So this basically implies that, it also found that, in the second article, it found that, even though with white families, they were reading more daily, I think it averaged out at like 20 minutes a day, which I think them people was lying, because I'll be seeing y'all parents, and y'all don't be reading. Got me all crusted up and dialed up and puffed up in this camera, but y'all be reading. So, cap. Anyway, it did say that white families, the implication was that white families read to their children 20 minutes a day. For children, I believe 6 and under. If not, that's the first article. Go back and read it for yourself. It doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter. Go back and read all. But brown families and families of color read for longer stints of time. Now, I also think that's cap, because I know for us, we're irritated. For me, at least, my mom was irritated a lot. I will say that she had me sitting at that table for longer than 20 minutes, but she wasn't with me. I'm gonna let that soundbite hit while y'all figure out, where are you lacking? It seems like this is going to be a huge implication on that. Now, the biggest takeaway from this, I freaking should have said this earlier. I gotta start organizing this stuff out. Like, I wrote it down, and I don't follow it because it's my freaking podcast. You don't like it? Go watch Sesame Street. That's where you need to be. No, but there's not been enough studies. One of the common things that the first article read, which is amazing to find, was that one of the biggest disheartening things that people find, I'm really going to kill somebody because I can hear them in the back while I'm trying to talk to y'all. Hold on. All right. So it basically showed that one of the most disheartening things that people kind of tend to avoid terms like dyslexia for is because they believe that they just don't like the term. So a lot of the times it doesn't even fit. Right, so it just basically, there are things that you need to happen to qualify as dyslexic, and you could just have a reading disorder that a lot of times, or reading disability. So a lot of people just try to avoid that term. So in the reading, they call them poor readers and not necessarily dyslexic, because it could be one of those 3 things that are off. The phonological, I gotta learn that word. That is going to be, if that part is off, that is usually going to be the indicator of dyslexia, not the other 2. But the other 2 are going to be huge components as to why someone can or cannot read. The thing is, Tom Holland is someone that suffers with dyslexia, and there's not enough studies to show that your reading levels are going to have any causation because of your IQ. And so just because you can't read does not make you unintelligent. If anything, the studies show that more people with reading disabilities have a lot better cognitive abilities, and I think that's just because you're working other muscles. So I think that definitely start young, get your kids out there, let's start reading. We got a bigger problem. I'm so glad that I read this stuff. I need you guys to interact with me. Like, what's going on? Like, what can we do? I think this is because I don't have any solutions. One, we need to be reading with our kids more frequently. It's the same way that I do my Duolingo every day, and I am necesito practicar mi español, pero mi amigo no, I don't know, he won't be around. So I'm it's important that daily routines, understanding where the child is having hiccups, or the adult if you're going back later. And then honestly, proper diagnosis is going to be key. Once again, just because you are a poor reader does not mean that you are automatically dyslexic or unintelligent. An IQ test has nothing to do with that. I really thought I was going to be fast because there's other things that I wanted to get into, but I'll get into them at a later date. So Focus on our children. More reading, more time. Spend time with them when you put them at the table to read. Do not leave them. Do not be like my mother. I'm kidding, Mom. She's gonna kill me. Don't watch this video, Mom. Skip over this part. Kathy, close your eyes. So my thing is, eventually we'll do a book club. I'm not there yet, y'all. I don't read that much, so. If you all want to do a book club, let me know and give me some years. Hold me to it if y'all are still around, and we'll do a book club. But as of right now, I think this is a good place to start. If you're a poor reader, you can start the reading. I'll use those videos in the last link that I sent you. I'll drop them in this link as well. So therefore, you can, get all that stuff done. Yeah. While you're at it, can you like this video? And can you subscribe? And can you share this to your friends? But other than that, it's me, Carlton Leroy Lee. And this is Black Boy's Guide. Self.